Good morning. I think I've already had church. Is anybody celebrating a special occasion today? Anybody? Okay, let me jog your memory. How about a free lunch after church? That's a good thing, right? What are the things that we celebrate in life? We celebrate births and deaths, important times in people's lives, such as graduations from elementary school, high school, and university. And it's wonderful to see you celebrating the students that are doing that today. It's good for them to know that you support them. Sporting events, probably one of the biggest things in this country. You celebrate from tailgate parties to parades honoring the teams like the Super Bowl parade and the Stanley Cup. People celebrate all kinds of different events. Now, here's a couple that I read about. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, there is a hot air balloon festival, and you can see pictures of that online, and it's spectacular to see it. In Agueda, Portugal, they decorate the streets with bright colored umbrellas that make a canopy for people as they walk down the street. And this happens sometime in July. There are celebrations all over the world. But this one that happens in Spain, the last Wednesday of August, I thought it was really something. It's the town's Wild Flying Tomato Festival. And it's been going on since 1945 and is only for entertainment purposes, giving you the opportunity to finally toss a smashed tomato at someone that you've always wanted to do that to. Sounds like a great time, doesn't it? Eh? Yeah, I think it'd be all right. Maybe we could start something like that here. Well, what was Paul trying to get the people in Philippi to celebrate? When we look at the summary of Philippians overall, Paul explains to the persecuted church there that living as a Christian means seeing our own story as a living expression of Jesus' story, so that even in their suffering, they can find contentment and purpose through Jesus' example. And I know sometimes that's hard to do. But in chapter 4, Paul encourages the people to always rejoice in the Lord. And again, that's hard to do sometimes. He exhorts them to replace their anxiety with prayer and thanksgiving, promising that they will enjoy the peace of God which surpasses all understanding. Think that there's peace that passes all understanding. And we have no idea what this family's gone through. But know, God will give you peace in that. For yourself here, in your new life, and for your families back home. There are quite a few things that we can celebrate in our own life. Here's a few of them. God in your life. Well, what does it mean to revel in something, as we read in the scriptures? To revel in something means to take great delight in something. And we should take great delight or revel in what God has done and continues to do in our life and in your life. I just want to remind you that God doesn't forget about you when you ask God to help you in your life. God is always there for you. Revel in the fact that not only do we take great delight in God, but God takes great delight in you as his children. Think about sometimes what God has done in your life and give thanks. Simple thing to do. Celebrate the people in your life. Listen to how these two people talk about that. Mandy Hale says it this way: celebrate the people in your life who are there because they love you for no other reason than because you are you. There's not too many of those around, but there are those people. Penny Hunt says to surround yourself with people who celebrate you. You deserve to be motivated, encouraged, supported, and surrounded by love and celebrated. Listen to what Ephesians 2, 4 and 5 tells us. But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ even when we were dead in transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved. If you can't think of anything else to celebrate in your life, start with that statement and go from there, because I'm sure you will find other things to celebrate. Celebrate prayer. Prayer allows us to connect with God in a personal way. Through prayer, we can ask and receive strength and peace and hope for our life, no matter what we might be dealing with. Listen to what Matthew tells us about that. Matthew 6, 5-8. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Those instructions are pretty simple. All you need to do is find some place you are comfortable in and start praying. And just tell God what is going on in your life, because he already knows. Just keep it simple. Celebrate concerns. That might sound like a contradiction, but what concerns do is show us our need for prayer, which is what concerns us are supposed to do. They aren't supposed to make us worry or have sleepless nights. You ever been there? Sure we have. But the concerns are supposed to make us pray, not have sleepless nights. John says this, John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Pretty hard sometimes when we're going through stuff. Pretty hard not to have a troubled heart when you've got some family issues going on that you don't like, or you've got some medical issues that you don't like. But do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Celebrate Christ and what Christ has done. We see celebrations throughout the scriptures. In Nehemiah 12, we read about the dedication of the wall in Jerusalem. This is what it says in verse 27. At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sought out from where they lived and were brought to Jerusalem to celebrate joyfully the dedication with songs of thanksgiving and with the music of cymbals, harps, and lyres. And there's other reasons that we see in the scriptures for celebration. The shepherds, the wise men, and angels celebrated the birth of Christ. And in the Old Testament, God gave Israel many celebrations, such as the different feasts that we read about there. But in the New Testament, we have been given the Lord's Supper and baptism to celebrate. How many people, just a question for you, how many people do you think are going to be attracted to God or to the church if we walk around saying, my life sucks? I don't think it's going to happen. We have to show people that there's a difference when there's a relationship with God in your life. Can you imagine? They see you with a sour look on your face and bad-mouthing everybody. Oh yeah, let me join that group of people. They'd be fun to be around. Let people see the joy and the peace of God on your face and in what you say, but also how you say it. You know, I say many times that English is a tonal language, and you know exactly what I mean. Because you can say the same thing 2 or 3 different ways, and that is a totally different meaning. So as today, as we celebrated all the students, as we celebrate this family's new life in Canada, as you celebrate after the service with your picnic, celebrate and thank God for what you have, because we've got a lot here. Celebrate with your worship. It was wonderful to hear the children singing this morning. They sound totally different than old people. But celebrate with your life. Let people see that there is a difference in your life because God's in your life. Amen.